normally tend to ask a question. So that impulse is coming back to me. And that question normally is, how are you feeling today? You will ask me a lot of questions later on. Maybe I can start with asking the first one for you. So how are you feeling today? And whenever I ask this to my people, I also give them a score between 0 and 10. Right? And 0 means you even wonder why do you exist on this planet. And 10 means this is the best day of your life. So shall we start with that, if that is fine with you? Well, it's also very important to ask you this question because your mood has a large influence on the mood of the nation, isn't it? So that's why I'm very curious to know. So any zeros in the room? Okay. So there's 1 0 in the room, and you wonder why you exist on this planet. Any tens? 1 10. It's a good sign. What about 8? 7, 5. Some people have not answered. 3, 2, 1. So we are very spread up, where I would like to say. Normally when I do this with my people, I get 70 to 80% in the range of 8 and above. And that for me is a good sign that we are passionate and energetic even in these times.
We are in the comfort zone, not like us.
Sorry?
We are in the comfort zone, not like us.
Maybe they are under comfort.
I should say it, sorry.
They are under comfort zone. We are in the comfort zone.
No, I don't think that is the case, but you are not, right? So, it's very important that at this time we also work on a positive narration of what's going on, isn't it? Well, let me first start by saying thank you once again for coming today. And why today? Because today is a very important day in the history of this company in India. Because today we are going to show you our readiness for BS6, which is the most important regulation the automotive industry has faced in India. And we will also take this chance to give you a glimpse of the SCR technology which we use and which is globally proven for its efficiency and reliability. But before I jump into those details, let me show you what I will talk about today. So these are the topics which I will talk about. I will start first with some socio-economic trends which also have played a large role in the implementation of BS6 next year. Then we will talk about BS6, and of course we will also then show you how do we leverage Make in India with the implementation of this technology. We will then talk about market situation, because I think that's also of interest to you, and such a very strong need for some policy reforms which I think are desperately needed at this time. So, before we jump into the details, let's start first with a big picture. And I think all of you know the entire automotive industry is going through a lot of disruptions. And these disruptions are so significant that they will shape this industry in a totally different manner in the next few years. And on this chart, you can see on the left side the key drivers in the change, and in the middle what is expected of it. You can see climate change, and we see a lot of change happening globally. And what is driving that is a regulatory framework or a pressure to decarbonize the entire automotive industry. You can see shifting consumer demands, mainly from ownership to shared mobility models. And we see technology, which is enabling new business models which help the customer to save cost on one side and enable OEMs to define new revenue streams for us. But today, we will focus on the topic, which is urbanization and economic growth. And we know the most important indicators for us. What does this lead to? This leads to increased mobility demand, and the downside of that is a leads to congestion, it leads to air pollution, and it leads to fatalities on the road. Well, let's look at how urbanization is changing the face of our planet. This is a very important slide you can see here. In the last 30 years, 1985 to 2015, we added 2.5 billion people on this planet. And what is very shocking is that out of this 2.5, 2 billion people were added to the cities. So that's the urban population. And you can also see what is the trend of urbanization. From 41% in 1985, it is expected to go to 60% by 2050. Which means 60% of the people on this planet, 60% of 8.5 billion, which is a large number, will live in the cities. And if you see further, you can see some dots here. Roughly 10% will live in very large cities. Now, what's happening in India? And the story is, if not more scary, at least similar. We see about 40% of Indian population by 2030 living in cities, and about 25%. About 25% of that living in large cities. Now, these are very scary trends. These are very frightening trends, and we still have to figure out how to deal with those things. Now, if you look at the ranking of India in terms of pollution, out of top 20 polluting cities, India has 15. And roughly 5% of our population is living in those cities, and maybe many of us are a part of it. And we can't underestimate the health effects and the effect on our community due to this proposition. What is very shocking, and this is normally not published, that 141 cities in India have already exceeded the PM10 standard. What is PM10 standard? It is the particulate matter size, which is highly technical. And there are 141 cities in India which have already crossed the standard. And there are 19 or 20 cities which have also crossed the top standard. Very scary numbers. And I think that is what was the motivation for the government and the industry to act strong and to act fast. And what India is going to do, no one has done so far. It took 12 years for Japan, and it took 8 years for Europe to shift from Euro 5 equivalent to a Euro 6 norm. And we are not only skipping BS5, but we are doing it in 3 years. So the entire industry has done a lot of hard work in the last 2 years to make that happen. I'm happy that most of us are ready to implement this technology in the next few years. Now, when it comes to BS6, this is not a new technology for us. In fact, you will be surprised to know that we in Daimler already have more than 1.4 million trucks and buses on the roads. And we are doing this in more than 40 countries. And we by now have more than 9 years of solid experience in BS6. So what we are going to do now is going to bring this globally proven technology. We are not going to experiment with customers, but give them the best which has proved in different countries around the world. Now let me come to a very important part. In the last few months, we have seen a lot of media coverage on BS6. And there's one very common question I have seen in that coverage. It's good that we are doing that, but what is in it for the customer? What is the customer going to get? Of course, the trucks or the buses or the cars will be more expensive. The emission levels will go down, so it's good for society. And then, what is in it for the customer? And that is something which we are also going to challenge. Since the time we came to the market, we have proven our leadership in offering the lowest total cost of ownership. With the implementation of BS6, we are going to challenge this further, which means we will further increase the fuel efficiency of the trucks from BS4, and we will further reduce reduce the maintenance cost to the customer, which means our service intervals will be better than what we are today. Along with that, we will upgrade our entire portfolio with the new semiconductor norms. So in a nutshell, if we have to say what is different with Daimler, we will come to the market with BS6 with a globally proven technology. We will even enhance the total cost of ownership which the customer gets. And I think that is something which is unmatched by anyone so far. Most of you know that since the time we came to India, we also had a strong strategy for exports. Now BS6 offers another opportunity to us in future. With that technology with us, we not only can continue to supply products to the markets which will shift to BS6 or equivalent norms in future, but it also gives us a chance to add new markets to our portfolio. So our clear plan is, latest by 2021 or 2022, we will start to export BS6 trucks to different markets. We have already some ideas here, you can see on the slide, 3 countries at least, which are the starting point, and we will continue to explore new markets as we proceed. With the BS6 engine ready with us, this also is another chance, and we are already looking at, can we export this engine to Europe and use it for off-highway applications in those areas. Now coming to the market, and this slide shows you how the market has done in the last 5 months. I think it's a great story. From a level of roughly 180,000 trucks sold last year, we actually covered the entire market. Now these are medium and heavy commercial vehicle models, and these are for January to December, because that's the calendar year we follow. Just to clarify that, you get the numbers in perspective. Now this market took the effect of BS4 introduction, which happened in 2017. It also took the effect of GST and demonetization. Everything was absorbed, and still the market continued to grow. But the story changed in 2019, or let's say towards end of 2019. And what led to this change? But there are 2 or 3 main things which led to this change. You know, in July of last year, the government introduced the new axle load norms. And that axle load norm simply meant that each truck can carry 20 to 25% more load than they were used to. Now, this was not only applicable for the new trucks which were sold, this was also applicable for all the trucks which the fleet owner had. Now, what does this mean? You, from one day to the other, have 25% more capacity. Now, we did a very quick calculation. When will this capacity be consumed? If the economy grows at 7% GDP rate, it will take more than 2 years to consume this capacity. And now we all know that the economy is not growing at 7%, but is rather growing at 5%, which means it will take even longer. The second effect came due to GST. GST was done after a lot of discussions and deliberations in this country. And now this has a negative effect on truck sales, but we have to also look at positives. If there is no pain, there is no gain. What we have seen, and we have talked to a lot of fleet owners, GST has of course simplified the filing of tax while we are moving on the road. And all the fleet owners have confirmed to us that the capacity of the fleet has gone up by about 20 to 30% just because of the implementation of GST. And I think it's good for the economy because historically India has had very low levels of fleet utilization. We were in the range of 30%. So in a way, the implementation of GST has helped the utilization of fleet, but of course it has then a short-term impact on new truck sales. And the third and the most talked about reason, I think you all know, is the NBFC crisis or the liquidity crunch, which we also know that the government is dealing appropriately. Now, if you also see on this page, you see that the trend is worsening. From 5-10% now to 50-60%. And I think this is happening because of correction of inventories, by the entire industry because we prepare for BS4 and BS6. Now, what will this all result in? Our projections say that the market, which was roughly 378,000 trucks last year, January to December, will end up in the corridor of 270 to 290,000 trucks. So, which means the industry will go down by 25 to 30%. What is our projection for 2020? Well, if you look at other markets, where Euro 6 was implemented, we have seen that even a strong market goes down by about 10%. And we are not in the strong market today. So our expectation is in 2020 also, the entire market will go down by 10 to 15%, which means it will be in the range of 230 to 250,000. And then, once we have gone through this exercise, we believe that the Indian economy will overall improve and will lead to coming back of growth in the range of about 10 to 15% and coming back in the range of 270 to 290. Now, what would change this picture? What would change this picture? There's a lot of discussion on GST reduction or scrappage policy. And let me clarify what is our viewpoint on that. When it comes to GST reduction, we believe it will have a very marginal and consequent effect on prices. And why I'm saying so? Because this is exactly where we differentiate between cars or computers and trucks. A fleet owner is buying a truck when he needs the truck. When he has a demand for it, he doesn't buy because it's cheap. Right? So we believe GST reduction will have a very marginal effect on prices. But what will definitely help is these kind of policies. Because then the fleet owners will really be motivated to replace their old trucks with better emission compliant and more fuel efficient ones. Now, when we come to scrappage policy, let's look at some very ambitious targets which Government of India has set. I don't know whether you have read about them so far, but you can find them on these websites. The Government of India has already announced that they want to reduce the emissions intensity as a percentage of GDP by more than 30%. That's a very, very ambitious. And the second target comes from our Prime Minister, that he wants that we should reduce our oil import by 10% by 2020, which means in very short term. Now, we roughly import about 80 to 90 million metric tons of oil. The trend so far is on the other side. It's going more than 100, and now we have to take this down. And that's where we believe that the scrappage policy can be. Since the time the Indian market started, you can imagine the population of vehicles on the road. Never ever the scrappage policy was done in an organized way. We have very unorganized players who deal with it the way they want to. In fact, they cause more pollution by scrapping the vehicle or keeping it on the roadside. And we believe this is a very good chance with implementation of BS6 norms to have an effective and successful scrappage policy. And why do I say the implementation of BS6 norms? 12 BS6 trucks produce the same NOx level as one BS3. 12 is to 1. And NOx is the most dangerous in the pollution. And 10 BS6 trucks produce the same level of particulate matter as one BS3. Which means with implementation of BS6, there's a very significant gain in the emission. At the same time, we have to understand implementation of BS6 will not reduce the pollution. We will only add less. Many people think that BS6 is coming, pollution will go down. No, it will not go down. We will only add less going forward. But what will bring it down is implementation of scrappage policy. Then you will really take out the more polluting and less fuel efficient vehicles on the road. And we did a very quick calculation. If 50% of BS2 and BS3 vehicles, trucks on the road are taken out, what will we save? We will save roughly 2 million metric tons of CO2 a year, and we will save roughly 780 million liters of crude oil. Now, these are very substantial figures. This 2 million metric tons is roughly 4% of the pollution produced by trucks. And I assume only 50%. So it's a very conservative calculation. Now, what will make a scrappage policy successful? Because that's another thing which we should think about and not just rush into. We need to provide proper incentive for someone to scrap. Most of the people who have these old vehicles are second or third or fourth owners. And we need to provide a proper incentive that they really want to scrap it. Second, we need authorized scrap centers. Scrap centers which use recycling and reuse as their philosophy and not just scrapping. That is another thing which we need to talk about. Third, we need to have a scrap certificate which is gradable. So someone who goes to scrap his vehicle gets the value but also gets the scrap certificate. We have to understand many times this third or the fourth owner is not interested in buying the new one. So if you want to bring the growth back, we have to make sure that this scrap certificate which is then generated can be sold at a proper value to another one who is interested in buying. Which means the government has to now work on it. We need to come up with authorized scrap centers and we need to define a full mechanism to handle this entire process. And I think that's what the government is working on. But we see that with the implementation of BS6, this is a great chance for India to reduce its pollution levels and to reduce the oil flow. Now let me come to another topic, which has not been talked too much about so far. You can also reduce pollution or oil flow by having more fuel-efficient vehicles on the road. And as I said, we have been leaders in this, and that's why we strongly advocate that the government should, as soon as possible, implement the fuel efficiency norms for trucks. They are in discussion for many years now. There are two types of norms, and we strongly pitch for HDFC norms, which means for each segment of vehicle you have a norm which you are supposed to fulfill and not on your overall population of vehicles which you produce. And we strongly pitch for that, and in fact, we are saying why should we even stop there? We should follow the example of other countries, for example, Japan, where there's an incentive for the customer if he buys a vehicle which is more fuel efficient than the norm. And this helps everyone. It's actually a win-win situation because the customer gets tax breaks when he buys a more fuel efficient vehicle. The manufacturers then are motivated to produce more and more fuel efficient vehicles. And the government saves on pollution and oil flow because more fuel efficiency means less consumption of diesel and petrol. And we again did a very quick calculation. If the entire industry follows 10% better fuel efficiency than the norm, we will save another 2 million metric tons of CO2 and a similar figure on the road. So all in all, by doing just these two things, we could save on pollution by about 10%, which is a great achievement. And the same is for diesel. In fact, Japan has already implemented this, where a customer who is buying a more fuel efficient truck or a car has to pay lower toll rates. So the government saves money out of fuel import and gives a portion of it as an incentive to the customer. It's a win-win situation. Coming to my last page, and this is about safety. You recall in the beginning we are talking about emission, pollution, and fatalities. And this is about safety. And this is something which I can't understand. So, we just saw that within 3 years, India took the courage to move from BS4 to BS6, and we are almost there. What are we doing for safety? So while on emission, we are exactly coming to the global best. safety, you're far behind. Isn't it better that we do it in a synchronized manner? I think we all know these statistics of accidents are low. We're talking about 150,000 deaths a year. 400 people die every day. And it's very hard to believe that while the first one in the world moved from BS4 to BS6 in 3 years, but next year, India will be the only country in the world which will have a BS6 truck with a wooden tail. It will not even have a factory fitted tail. Which means this is how the trucks move on. And just that you are aware, this is 80% of the long-term market. 80%. We never participated in the segment, and I take this chance now to give a call to everyone, to the government and to the industry, to use this chance of BS6 and switch to factory trains. Well, that was all from my side. Thank you very much. I will now invite my colleagues, Robert and Pradeep, the technical experts. Robert is the global platform lead for BS6. He's come from Germany, especially for this meeting today. And Pradeep, who is our Vice President of R&D, who will give you details about the SCR technology of BS6, our preparation and readiness, and also what benefits does it give to us. Thank you very much.
My side as well. Warm welcome to all of you. After listening to the CEO about BS6 readiness and then very strong messages in terms of policies that could help us to be one step ahead and then also meet the national goals. Now we go a little bit into the technical side. But it's not easy because it's a sneak preview and we should not tell too much, but we should tell something. So we will try to manage that. I have my colleague Robert with me. We started towards the end of 2016. So that is when they started discussing on BS6 and how do we define the technology for India and how do we take this forward. Of course, Robert has a much longer association with AICD because he supports us in all the development that we do here. So he comes here after 2 months of gap, so Robert, thank you for coming. And I have a gift for him. So any guess on what is the gift? Okay, so the gift is that we now have more vehicles certified. So when you came in July, we got the first certificate. Of course, we were the first one in the country to get a BS6 certificate for a heavy-duty diesel truck. And now we have more vehicles certified. So you can say we have over 50% certified, our tractors certified, our diesel trucks certified. So that's the gift. With this, I hand over to Robert, and then I'll come back here.
Thank you very much for that. I'm sure I was expecting it. I was hoping for it. Just to let you know who I am. So I'm actually located in Stuttgart, and I'm responsible for the engine and craft treatment in our logistics department for global platform management and rollout. And we also have a ton of other colleagues started in Germany end of 2016. It was a huge challenge to us. You saw from the presentation before that the British government decided to squeeze the development timeline into a 3-year time frame, so it was extremely challenging for us. Nevertheless, we managed it, and this is one result. Having certificates in hand is for an engineer always something it's really exciting, because so much energy. In that case, a lot of travel and discussion and so on and stuff. And now we're really happy that we achieved it. And why is it that way? Or what could we add to that? You all know that Daimler is a global player, and to say that, we give you some example here that back in actually 2010 and earlier, we started the rollout of Euro 6 or borrowed 6 type emission legislations in the US, followed 2 years later in the Euro region and then in Japan. And it is a really global footprint of Daimler that we come up with platform engines global solutions, things that we do once only globally, and adapt them to local needs and requirements. And what you see here is that up to now we have more than 1.4 million engines after treatment systems sold in trucks globally, which also means that we have biggest experiences globally in technology. And everybody always says it's an SCR technology. Yes, that's correct. It's one part of the after treatment system. With RL6, you actually add a complete block to the after treatment system, which is a particulate filter. And we learned that we reduce mass by 90%, but what even is more important is that you reduce particulate count emissions by up to 2 orders of magnitude, which is a real step forward. So actually sometimes the particulate amount that comes out of the truck is less than goes into the truck. So that's a real step forward, and in this challenging environment here in India, we came up with a quite decent plan to use our global resources and finally encourage or empower our English colleagues here in Chennai to cope with that technology and to be one also of our centers of excellence for engine development, specifically designed for English and we work also to export markets. So what does that mean? We took our global experience, and when we say that we have experience of selling these trucks since 2010, normally development starts, I guess, 5 to 6 years earlier. So we're already approaching 50 years and more experience on that technology. It all goes into small details like selection of catalyst material, operating strategies, and everything like that that you can elaborate from 1.4 million vehicles. And the other point is that we sell these vehicles in more than 40 countries, which gives you a huge and tremendous feedback about how these vehicles operate and how the systems perform with respect to fuel economy, emissions, but also with respect to durability. And from that, we can elaborate higher cleaning intervals of the filter, higher change intervals of oil, and everything like that. And what you see here is a truck. Everybody knows a truck, but we're also in the bus business, and we're in the off-highway business as well. So we got a really tremendous experience, and the assumption is that we have more than 500 billion kilometers run on their trucks, buses, off-highway equipment. And that gives a really cool, so to say, start for the development that we have here in India. Nevertheless, the timeline and the challenge we had gave us the idea that we use our global network. And what you see here, marked in yellow, is all the locations that we use globally or are using globally to develop the engine after-treatment system for India. To give you one example, the after-treatment system that the engines will get here, call it a two-box system, is actually a successor or evolved version of the system that we use on medium-duty engines in the United States. So our US colleagues in Detroit are responsible for the after-treatment system and the release of the after-treatment system in here together with our colleagues here in Chennai. On the other hand, we use testing locations, and we will learn about them later on as well, in South Africa, Abu Dhabi, in Mexico, and around the globe, and also in India, just to really drive these engine after-treatment systems to the performance that we would like to see, would like to have in a challenging environment. Mexico, you all know, higher than 2,000 meter altitude. Normally, we drive the trucks up to 3,000, overload them, and use the heat. So if a truck and an engine after-treatment system survives the durability run in Mexico, we're pretty much sure that it survives everywhere. And that's not just truck testing, we also do bench testing, and this makes it really interesting to work on such a program, because you meet people from around the globe, different experience, different knowledge, but also everybody adds a little bit of pieces to the overall program to make it a success. And one of the successes here is that we have in 3 years, we were able to achieve a certificate on a Part 6 norm in a country that decided to quite drastically change the emission regulation in heavy trucks in 3 years. Europe took much longer, Japan even longer like that, but it's a real achievement, and I'm absolutely proud about the global team who achieved it. And to finalize that, it is also a strategy and idea of Daimler Trucks then to bring locations like Chennai to a global standard. So Chennai here, our colleagues here in India, are now an essential part and now closely work together with their colleagues in Brazil and Mexico to transform the technology that we developed now here in the next countries that are changing to Euro 6 regulation, which is Brazil and Mexico, upcoming in 2022-23. And also, as this is the first SOP of the specific engine after treatment combination, India became a front runner. So we first introduced the technology here, get all the experience from testing and later from the market and used it for our global. That's not all, because we decided to also use the English supplier setup to become a global source for instance, the picture on the bottom you see, this is a cylinder block for a 4-cylinder engine. And so far you haven't seen a 4-cylinder engine in the heavy-duty trucks because this is the specific stuff. We elaborate from Indian programs, further spin-offs, and we will source our global demand for this specific engine type from blocks and heads from India globally. So we'll ship into Brazil and to Mexico, and thus making India an integrated part of our global system. I think not just the English colleagues are happy, but we are also very happy that we came that far in that very short time frame and really accomplished an engine after treatment system combination in the truck together with superior fuel economy and the performance. We are really happy about it, and so we can deliver what we promised to you, that we get a really good truck and bus. Also. That's a short message from my side, and over to Berlin. And also this is one part of that, what you do when you do global programs, you come to France. That's why I'm always very happy to be here in India, and this is just a short trip. I will be here more often, I think. Thank you.
From here, I will share some experiences of how the truck development, bus development went through. Just taking some clues from what Robert mentioned, that ES6, that Bharat wants to offer, is taking the best from the world. The aftertreatment system is a very successful system which is running in the US. And we also heard that the engine that we will use here will also be used in the future, in the near future, in countries like Brazil and Mexico. So we have heard from the industry that in the last 2.5 years, the auto industry, including the supplier base, is burning their midnight oil to meet this challenging timeline for such a big technology jump. On a lighter note, we really burn the midnight oil because having meetings in US, having design reviews in Brazil and Japan, that means then we have meetings early in the morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to late in the night, 10 p.m., 11 p.m. So that's the kind of spread my team has to put in order to bring this to reality. And then the second note, some of you were here 2 years back during the PS4 launch. The message that we gave to you and then to our customers was that we are not doing big change in the engine from PS3 to PS4. We add the after-treatment system. So that makes it easier for our customers because they don't see a stranger with the technology change. So So we continue with the same trend now. So the powertrain, the engine will remain with the same family. Of course, with a slight change in the capacity, but from the same family, but then all the job is done by the architecture system. So when we do this development, our main target was to have the local content similar to what we used to always have, because we believe that it's extremely important to source the components from here, and that's going to help us in terms of competitiveness, also in terms of speed of service that we can offer to our customers. So you know we already have 90% plus percentage of the products localized fully, and for BS6 we have already reached more than 80% of the content fully localized and sourced from Indian suppliers from here. We also have a roadmap to reach and take it up to 90% very soon after the SOP. So that means then we will stay with our philosophy of high local content also for such a high technology. So that means then it's also a technology upgrade for the whole country. We are not just picking some best technology from the world and putting it here. We localize everything so that then we uplift the whole technology basis for it. The second effort that we had to do in terms of bringing this technology to India is to adapt or adjust the technology to the local usage condition. Easier said than done, because BS6, as Robert mentioned, has a multiple layers of filters built to meet all the emission regulations. In short, the box that you see here is a mini chemical factory. So you can scale this up to make a factory of this premise size. So it's a mini chemical factory doing a lot of jobs. And when it does it has to do the same job in all the different operating conditions that we have. So we have tropical climate, we have high humid environment, we have bad road conditions, we have slow moving traffic, we have high altitude, we have extremely cold temperatures in the up north. So that means India, by its size and geography, is similar to Europe. So you have from -5 to 50, and then also from humidity of less than 20% to 90%. And we have high-speed expressways where trucks run very fast, almost about 80-90 km/h. And then we also have slow-moving traffic where the trucks run on a speed of 20-30 km/h. So that means that to cater to this wide array of requirement, it's extremely important that we do the fine-tuning of the system so that it works properly and meets all the requirements for emission and also meets all the requirements of the customer. So that is another big effort that has gone inside in terms of optimizing the driveline and making it suitable for India. Robert will agree with me, this is one more experience. We have done this for BS3 and we have also done this for BS4. And now we did this for BS6, and every time we do, there are a lot of new learnings coming, but also shows us that every change or upgrade we do, we have to be very close to the customer, and that is our philosophy. With that, we have customized for Indian conditions. And then, the other challenges that we had during this development, as mentioned earlier, so India had the shortest lead time for such a big technology change. So we had to do this in 3 years. When the regulation was announced, I remember the discussion that we had with Robert. He said, what, in 3 years? It's not possible. He said, no, we have to do it. So it was a tough discussion in the beginning on how do we do this. How do we make this possible? So, but it was possible to reach to this state now in less than 3 years, mainly because of the commitment the whole team had and the way the whole team worked in an big. So we had more than 8 or 10 different nationalities participating in the code development from different parts of the world, having weekly technical discussions and having multiple on-site reviews. This room was used for several big workshops with people coming from different parts of the world, going through part by part and fine-tuning the parts and developing. This, what you see here, is the result of a global collaboration of Daimler Trucks, and that's also a success. With our global collaboration, we are able to make this technology possible in such a short span of time. Along with that, we had the other surprise last year in terms of axle load increase. So when we were going through the development of the BS6, then came a new requirement of axle load. So what does this mean? So we had to go through the entire portfolio and then upgrade them along with BS6. So that's more effort, more work, plus we had to also fine-tune the system to meet these higher load requirements. So we could manage this development also in parallel and integrate into the BS6 development, so that what you see here is combining both the requirements, we meet them all. And this technology that we developed was tested and is continuing to test 24/7 in different parts of the world and also different parts of the country. So sometimes I envy my testing colleagues because they go to Leh, they go to Kashmir, so they go to Rajasthan, they go to different parts of the world. And not you take any corner of the country, they go there for doing some tests. So I say you guys are always on the truth, but they stay in different parts of the country for more than 2 or 3 months to complete their tests, staying away from home. And same, staying away from the country, going to South Africa, Brazil to complete the testing. So that's the kind of effort the whole team has put 24/7 to make sure that we do our homework proper and then deliver the best truck, the best reliable truck to our customer. So just some numbers, we have done more than 2 million kilometers of testing on road in India, in South Africa primarily, and then we have done more than 2.5 million kilometers equivalent bench test. That is roughly more than 20,000 hours of bench test for engine and then other parts that are engine architecture system and other parts. So more than 35 test vehicles are running. So we have test vehicles here in India, test vehicles in Germany, test vehicles in South Africa, test vehicles in Brazil running, and then more than 80 engines in the same locations and also in Japan being tested. So that is the kind of effort Daimler Trucks as a whole has put into bringing the best BS6 for the country. So in a nutshell, the product that you see here will meet the BS6 regulations or even be better in terms of the results. And the portfolio is upgraded to meet the new axle load plus all the new regulations that are getting implemented in the coming months. And we will offer the best-in-class aftertreatment system technology that you see in this box here. Plus, we will offer an enhanced TCO that makes the TCO better than the predecessor. So this is what we will offer to our customers as a total value proposition. And what this 3 years of development along with Robert and team has offered us as DICB is already mentioned. We will start exporting Euro 6 based trucks from 21 onwards. Plus, we have already started exporting parts. We will also start exporting the engines, Euro 6 engines. Along with that, we are now the powertrain team in DICB is part of the global R&D. So that means then we do know-how transfer back and forth. So what we have done now for India will help us, help our colleagues in Mexico and Brazil to get ready for their use. So that means then we don't only take technology, we also will deliver. So this transfer will happen. That means then from India, we will start supporting global development for higher technology products. So that is one. And then also this will help in more operational collaboration with our colleagues in other parts of Daimler. So with this, I will finish my speech. Thank you for joining, and then